Lamine Yamal's stoppage time strike that sealed a 3-0 victory could have been a neat, forgettable end to a routine match. Instead, it detonated into a national talking point because of one unmissable gesture. The teenager lifted a makeshift crown to his head as he celebrated, and the image spread like wildfire. Moments become meaning in football, and this one was instantly read as more than a joyful prank. Pundits equated it with arrogance, rival supporters smelled provocation, and a veteran journalist publicly warned that the youngster was acting as if he were already the sport's sovereign. That reaction, sharp and unapologetic, is the heart of the story. Why a single celebration has placed an 18-year-old athlete under a microscope and forced Barcelona, the media and fans to ask what humility and hubris should look like in the age of instant global coverage. Lamine's rise has been dizzyingly rapid, young, technically brilliant, and already a regular name when Barca lineups and transfer talk are discussed, and with precocious talent comes amplified expectations. Supporters who have watched his progress want flair and confidence. Critics, however, worry that confidence can tip into entitlement when it is performed for a worldwide audience. The crown celebration didn't happen in a vacuum. It arrived after a place of pressure, scrutiny, and the kind of adoration that can distort perspective. Critics point out that trophies and early awards can create a sense of elevated status, and while Yamal has collected impressive achievements for a player his age, there remain milestones he hasn't reached and battles he hasn't yet won. That's why voices like Jose Luis Sanchez struck a chord. They framed the gesture as premature coronation, the kind of performative assertion that invites backlash and, worse, distracts from the daily grind that forges lasting greatness. Yet there's another side to this, and it matters. Young players use personality to brand themselves. Celebrations are part of modern football theatre and can amplify a player's profile, sponsorship value, and fan connection. For many fans, the crown was playful bravado, a young man savouring a special moment, and a reminder that the sport lives on emotion as much as on analysis. The tension between those readings, charismatic self-expression versus dangerous ego, is where the real debate lies. Practically, the episode creates immediate questions for Barcelona's hierarchy and coaching staff. Will the club publicly admonish a homegrown talent, quietly counsel him behind closed doors, or let the incident pass as a youthful misstep? The locker room dynamic matters too. Teammates who protect or rebuke a player can shape how quickly an image crisis fades. Historically, there are precedents on both sides, players whose early swagger alienated teams and sponsors, and others whose boldness became part of their legend once it was tempered by performance and maturity. The next moves will determine which path Yamal follows. For the player himself, this is a test in public relations and personal growth. Can he translate the confidence the celebration signalled into consistent, humble leadership on the pitch? Will he accept critique and show a willingness to learn, or will the narrative harden and cost him goodwill among peers and fans? For Barcelona, the balancing act is delicate. Nurture an exceptional talent without letting image management undermine team value. The wider conversation this sparked is valuable because it forces football to examine how we treat youth stardom now, how easily heroes are elevated, how quickly they are judged, and how social media accelerates both praise and condemnation. In the end, a single gesture won't define a career, but responses to it will. Lamine Yamal has time to shape the story that follows this crown moment, to turn a flashpoint into a lesson in humility, or to let it become the first of many controversies. Fans, pundits, and the club will all watch how he reacts off the ball, in interviews and in the dressing room. That reaction will say more about the player he will become than any coronation ever could. What matters now is less the image itself and more the response. Will confidence be refined into leadership, or will ego curtail promise?